Hi, I'm Terri Milligan of Edible Door Magazine. Today I'm out at North Bay Farms and I'm picking out some winter squash to make a great dish that I want to share with you today. It's a stuffed winter squash that I'm stuffing with some delicious grains, some dried fruit, and then some heart-healthy nuts. I'm picking out today a great acorn squash that I'm going to use, but you could also use a butter cup squash or a colorful carnival squash. So let's begin the recipe. To start the dish, you'll need the following ingredients: some wild rice, a grain such as kamut or wheat berry, some steamed sweet potato. I diced one small sweet potato, steamed it in a little water, and did it in the microwave oven, some diced celery, diced onion, a clove of garlic, some nuts. I like to use walnuts, but you could substitute pecans, hazelnuts, or even pepitas, which are hulled pumpkin seeds, and some dried fruit. I'm using cranberries, but you could use dried Door County cherries or dried apricots. When cooking the grains, remember to cook them separately. Both of them will take different times for cooking. And remember that they expand when they cook. For example, the wild rice will expand 1 to 4. So that means 1/4 cup of dried wild rice becomes 1 cup of wild rice. For this dish, you're going to need 1/3 cup dried wild rice and 1/2 cup dried kamut or wheat berry. This recipe serves 4, so you'll need 2 acorn squash cut in half. I'm showing you just 2 of them. We're going to brush the halved acorn squash with melted butter and then sprinkle it with brown sugar. Have your oven preheated to 375 degrees and have a baking pan available that has at least 2-inch sides to place the acorn squash in so they roast. Here's a tip in case your acorn squash tilt when they're sitting on the counter or on your work surface. Take your acorn squash and cut a little piece off the back. That's going to give you enough stability so your acorn squash won't roll around. Then take the butter, do a brushing on each one, and make sure you get some butter in the cavity. Now sprinkle with the brown sugar. Place these prepared acorn squash in your baking pan and place them in the oven to roast until just fork tender. Remember, these are going to cook twice, once at this stage and then a second time when we put the stuffing in the squash. So don't overcook the squash. I like to stick a paring knife in them, and if it just comes out easily, they're done. While your squash is baking in the oven, sauté your vegetables. Start by adding a tablespoon of olive oil to a sauté pan, then add your chopped garlic, chopped onion, and chopped celery. Sauté until the onion is translucent, about 2 or 3 minutes. This recipe will make enough stuffing for 4 squash halves. I only have 2 squash halves in this demo, but we'll have leftover that we can use for another whole squash, which would make 2 more servings. And there you have it, our completed dish of an acorn squash stuffed with wild rice, kamut or wheat berries, dried fruit, walnuts, sauteed vegetables, a pinch of fresh thyme and some salt, and of course a drizzle of Door County maple syrup, all in its own edible container. This is Chef Terri Milligan from Edible Door Magazine. Thanks for joining me today. Bon appetit!